Hi partakers, thank you so much for joining us this Sunday. I'm particularly excited for the new people that are just tuning into this channel, number one, but also onto this program for the very first time. You're very welcome. What we do here is we talk about nutrition and see how we can dissect food and see how we can use it to further our health or better our health. So on the show today, we're going to be starting off with the food throne and we'll talk about beetroot. So beetroot is something that maybe is not so common yet in our Ugandan households, and yet it should have a place there. And that's why today I decided let's talk about it, because I'm here to encourage you to at least include it in your menus once in a while in your homes. Now, beetroot has so many nutrients that it gives us. There's fiber, there's great fiber in there. But if there's anything that you remember about beetroot, the one thing I would want you to remember about beetroot is it has something called glutamine. Now, glutamine is one of the most preferred sources or types or forms of fuel that our white blood cells like to use. Now, if you are able to offer this to your white blood cells. Remember, our white blood cells are very vital for our immunity and our soldiers actually in our bodies to fight against disease and infection. So if you are giving them enough energy to actually fight off disease, then definitely you're going to be more healthy. Definitely you're going to be able to fight off all these surrounding disease-causing germs and organisms that may want to come and disrupt our health anytime. So if there's anything that you remember about beetroot, please remember that it has glutamine, and that's why you need it in your body. The other thing that I would like for us to also know about beetroot is it has something or a chemical called nitric oxide, and this particular chemical is also important because it helps us sort of dilate our blood vessels or make them relax, if I can say so. So if your blood vessels are more relaxed, they are not strained and getting so squeezed up, then you're going to have your blood moving swiftly, and so it's also important for blood circulation. It's also important for relieving you of stress, and that's why beetroot, we need to incorporate it into our diets. So the next time you see a beetroot, buy it and take it home with you. So if you've been here with me on this particular show, tuning in and watching every single Sunday and Monday, then you know that the discussion room is what we go to next. In the discussion room, we're looking at the lessons we're learning from the questions that you people are asking, and that means you are the actual VIP of this show. This show depends on you. You are the lifeline of this show, and that's why it's important that I am going to let you know how you can connect with me on my social media platforms, so you can send in your feedback in terms of health, in your inquiries in terms of nutrition. The social media platforms you can definitely connect with me on are, first of all, Instagram. My handle is Food Witness. On Facebook, the Facebook page name is Amanda Twebaze Nutritionist. You head to YouTube as well. Don't forget to head down there and subscribe and follow and just binge watch, because there's a lot of content I've already put down there. The channel name is Amanda Twebaze Nutritionist. On WhatsApp, you can also send your feedback or your inquiries on the number 0782 152610. That is 0782 152610. Let's get into our discussion room and start off with what people are asking. So Allen is our starter for the day, and she asks, I was wondering what is the perfect month to start giving my baby drinking water. For anything else aside breast milk, if you can, please start giving anything else, including water, after 6 months. You see, our bodies need to adjust. Even when babies are coming from an internal environment, they've been brought into a whole new different environment. They have to adjust. Their tummies are also very, very tiny still at that point. So you don't want to be affecting their immunity. You don't want to be affecting how they adjust, and you thinking that you're going to be providing good nutrition for them, and yet you're actually disrupting their whole system instead. You don't want to be the one that is the cause of that. So make sure that you start anything else that you're going to feed these children on after 6 months. That means before then, try as much as you can to breastfeed. These days we also have breast milk banks in Uganda, that definitely donor breast milk, so you might want to either donate or go and actually get some from them, and make sure that your baby just has enough breast milk that will be sufficient for their health during these first 6 months of life. Going into our second question, second question is coming in from a person called Arafat, a partaker called Arafat, and he says, the doctor told me it's an enlarged prostate. It was a community health center. I couldn't get that much, but just some tablets, and they told me to have some drink, that is all. Any solution? What I would like for us to also note as we look at reproductive health, because that's really what he's talking about here as well, is insulin is a very big factor even for reproductive health. Actually, it's a really major hormone in our bodies, because it drives, you know, the whole cycle of energy in our body system, and everything is going to require energy. So because insulin is a big factor, then you have to be mindful and make sure that you're not eating foods that are actually going to stress this insulin hormone, or make it be, you know, make it have to be produced in excess, because at that point then your body becomes can become or have a risk of becoming insensitive to, you know, this insulin that is being produced. And that's why you need to make sure that you are eating foods that actually promote the health and regulate the production actually of this insulin. Some of those are fiber. We'll put them down on the Facebook page. That's where we put our detailed responses, so you'll want to head down there and check out what is happening as far as this reproductive health is concerned. But run away from foods that have too much sugar, too much fat, you know, very processed. All those actually stress insulin and make you, you know, end up producing a lot more of it, which you don't need in your body. Niyikiza Acidic is asking, I cannot eat sweet foods or drinks. For example, I can now hardly finish a banana or a bottle of soda. I feel uneasy in the mouth and sometimes like vomiting. What's the problem and what can I do? Sometimes, you know, we might have food intolerances that are actually making us feel like this, and you might be thinking it's probably, okay, you associate it with the sugary foods, and yet maybe there's another particular ingredient in those sweet foods that is actually making you have these intolerances. But also at the same time, also if you're not controlling your glucose in the body system, you might find that, you know, there's a lot of blood glucose moving around, and that's why you are starting to feel all these symptoms, because it's never a good thing to have excess glucose moving around in your body. As we talked about earlier, it could still cause insensitivity to, you know, important hormones like the insulin, and you don't want that happening. So yeah, you might want to look into controlling how much sugar you're actually taking, or how much, you know, if you are binge doing sugar, or if you are eating it too frequently, you want to reduce that. The same goes for, you know, way too sugary foods. The same goes for processed foods, fatty foods, oily foods, because yeah, at this point it could be sugar, or it could be another particular ingredient that is actually embedded in these sugary foods that's making you feel that intolerance to these particular foods. So look out for that. But we'll be talking about it more on the Facebook page, so do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and head down there as well. On our fourth question, coming in from Akelo Amelia, she asks, guide me on what foods to take to balance up my hormones. Hormones depend a lot on micronutrients. Micronutrients are nutrients that we actually need in very small quantities in our body, but they are very essential. Without them, your body will have malfunctions. So most of these are really vitamins and minerals. You need minerals to be able to have very healthy hormones. And that's why I'm going to send you right to eating nuts. Nuts is going to be very important, because nuts have a vast array of micronutrients in them. You want to go to, say, peanuts, you want to go to OG nuts, say you want to go to Sim Sim, you want to go to even seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. These have very many micronutrients in them, or minerals, which actually act as, should I say, triggers or work as enhancers of the work of all these other hormones. So you want to make sure that you actually have enough micronutrients in your body system. We'll talk more about it down on the Facebook page. Our last question. Atwine says, I am 84 kilograms. What do I have to eat in order to lose my weight to at least 70 kilograms? Well, Atwine, there's so many things we can do about weight. It's such a broad topic, so we keep trying to dissect, you know, one thing after another as slowly as we can on this particular show and also on the Facebook page. But here today, maybe we would like to note that if you're trying to lose weight, then you might want to also keep yourself full. weight should never be a factor of hunger or starving yourself. So keep yourself full. That is one of the tricks that you would want to use. Some of the foods that you can actually use to make sure you're keeping yourself full is have protein-filled foods. So eggs, chicken, meat, nuts, all these actually help us to stay full for longer. You also want to have fiber-filled foods, so you want to make sure you're having a lot of vegetables as well, a lot of seeds because they have lots of fiber, fruits also. Those are the ones you should focus on to make sure you're staying full for longer, and then you'll also not overeat at the end of the day. So that's our discussion room. Let's go into our take of the week. The take of the week this week goes to Tony Wandera. An applause for you. He was responding to a question being asked on the page, why are most men reluctant to trim their pubic hair? And his opinion is, it's right to keep it trimmed and clean, but simply because some men pretend to be so busy, it feels like time wasting to think of trimming it. Also, for some guys who are not good at partnership games, they don't really care about it. After all, no one will be concerned about the much hair down there. So I guess this is a fellow man speaking to the other men. You know what? It's important, and we just have to, keep some of these areas trimmed so we don't have growth of, bacteria, you don't have inflammation there, you don't have infections there, and you're not spreading diseases, but also you're not suffering in pain and in silence. And yet these are things that you could easily prevent by just keeping it more clean and not having a whole bush. If you're going to decide to have, lots of hair, then you might want to have a self-care routine or a hair routine that actually keeps it clean, and you don't have all these organisms growing there. So thank you, Tony, for talking to the fellow men on our behalf. Our wellness quote now, and then we'll end the show. The wellness quote comes in from someone called Winston Churchill, and they say, healthy citizens are the greatest assets any country can have. So if we're going to build a global world that is, with purpose, that's with meaning, that, caters to our needs, especially our basic needs and our rights as human beings, then we're going to have to be great countries as well. And to have a great individual country, we need to have healthy citizens who are actually productive, who actually are on a more positive side of life, who actually are able to influence others positively. And that's why it's important that you are healthy. It's important that I am healthy. We need to take care of ourselves, because it's not just about us, it's about our country as well. You being healthy is doing a service for your country. You being healthy at the end of the day is also doing a service for the whole world. So you know what, let's focus on our health. It's very important. So that ends our Beetroot show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You have been awesome as always. Please don't forget to head down to our social media platforms. Like, I will mention them again for you. Instagram, Food Witness. On YouTube, it's Amanda Tweba, the Dash Nutritionist. On Facebook, the page name is Amanda Tweba, the Dash Nutritionist. WhatsApp 0782152610. I will see you there. Remember that wellness is an adventure. Until next week, bye-bye.